Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Collision Repair Industry Insider Podcast. I'm your host and the editor of Collision Repair Magazine, Allison Rogers. Today, we're on the line with the team from Parker Lord and the Fusor adhesive line to chat about some of the Fusor adhesives, their applications in collision repair and beyond, as well as their compliancy with OEM procedures and some training stuff. So we've got lots to chat about today with the team from Parker Lord. We have Patrick Maloney, the Global Sales Manager, and Carolee, a Senior Technical Support Representative. We're thrilled to have you both on the show today. Before we get started and delve into our topics, could you each tell me a little bit more about your experience in the automotive aftermarket and your time with Parker Lord? Carolee, why don't you start us off?
Sure, Allison. Great to talk to you and get to spend some time with you. I appreciate it. My name's Carolee, and I'm a Senior Technical Service Rep. Mostly what I do is assist customers with reliable adhesive solutions for assembly and manufacturing. And then I do focus on our collision repair products and the collision repair industry. I've been at Parker Lord for about 10 years in technical support, providing product recommendations, application support to shops, distributors, OEMs, that sort of thing by phone, email, and in person.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Maloney. I'm the Global Sales and Business Development Manager, specifically focusing on automotive aftermarket and specialty chemicals. I've been in the automotive industry for a little over 20 years, automotive aftermarket, automotive OEM, implant, and I've been with Parker for approximately 4 years now.
Awesome. So between the both of you, lots of experience talking to people that are doing the repairs. Love to talk about adhesives because that's kind of, I don't want to say newer thing. It's been around for a while, but people are kind of just starting to get the handle on them too. So it's got a lot to talk about today just in regards to Parker Lord's operations, compliance with OEM procedures and whatnot, and just complying with change because we all know that change is a constant in the automotive aftermarket and in collision repair. What would you two say are some of the most notable changes or trends that are affecting the aftermarket and collision repair right now at the minute?
Well, the biggest thing that I see is that OEMs are always changing their designs and the materials that they use in cars and vehicles for manufacturing. They're under pressure to make vehicles lighter, more efficient, and safer to meet all kinds of government regulations and consumer demands. So in response to those changes from the OEMs, our adhesives and the collision repair products have to change to meet those needs. And what I see in working with shops and distributors is one of the biggest challenges is for the personnel and staff to stay current on the training. So what's new in the market in terms of products, what's new with the OEMs, that's always a challenge when you're in a shop working every day. You can't know everything about every make and model, but one important thing is to know where you're going to get that information. So when you get ready to do a job, so you can get current information on that particular make and model or project that you're working on. Some resources that we often use and refer customers to would be ICAR, of course, the ICAR training, the ICAR online, ETI, which is Equipment and Tool Institute. And then, of course, the OEMs have online resources. We often recommend Fusor, the OEM1stop.com, because you can go to all of the OEMs on that website. And then, of course, suppliers for any kind of products like Parker Lord. We have information about the OEM recommendations on our products and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Yeah, the OEM One Stop, absolutely great resource for that. So glad to hear that you guys absolutely recommend that to your customers and whatnot. And just, this is a question I'm kind of shoehorning in here just kind of to buffer things up. But as I mentioned there, adhesives are kind of a thing that people were a little bit skeptical when they first came onto the market. What do you think kind of is the general focus of them today? What do people see adhesives in collision repair as from either a perspective from the OEMs as well as the people repairing the cars? What do they think of adhesives in repair?
I think more and more adhesives are becoming more familiar with the body shops and the end users. I think that the industry's changing. Carolee mentioned lighter, faster. Cars are looking to be more economical as far as fuel consumption, EV platforms. By bringing more adhesives into the market or into the building of these vehicles, they have an ability to make things lighter weight and can repair them back to pre-accident condition. So they're definitely making their trend, making their way, and continue to evolve in all automotives moving forward.
Absolutely. So especially as you mentioned with the new materials in today's vehicles, following OEM procedures is a huge factor in today's repair market, just with how complex vehicles are. So how do you see adhesive bonding and the Fusor repair adhesive line fitting into that equation and the future of complex vehicles?
So Allison, you brought up a good point. So one of our biggest things that we always try to face is following the OEM procedure and recommendations. That is critical in repairing a vehicle to pre-accident condition. It's a always changing environment as far as call outs from the OEMs. We just need to make sure that we always do what the OEMs are recommending for repairs. They could say something today and then they could change it to something tomorrow. So going to some of those secondary sites for the repair procedures, they're living, breathing documents. Just because you have a repair procedure today doesn't mean it's going to be the same repair procedure 24 months from now. So we really want to encourage all the body shops to really go on and pull up-to-date information for their repairs that they have in their shops.
And as you mentioned, the OEM one-stop resource and just cross-referencing, like as you mentioned, there's so much information out there, and you could even look at a procedure today and it's different 3 days from now. So it's just position statements are changing every day. So we absolutely stress the same thing, that people should be, making sure that the repair is absolutely compliant to OEM standards. And what about the repairs that can be completed with Fusor products? I mean, obviously adhesives are in many parts of the vehicle nowadays, but what are the different applications you can use the different Fusor line products for? Tell us about it.
So our Fusor adhesives are used in all types of repairs, all types of repair procedures, anywhere from metal bonding, structural, to bumper repair, to seam sealing. I mean, honestly, it's our products are pretty much used across the board in the majority of repairs. We have a broad spectrum of products, like I mentioned, anywhere from seam sealing all the way to a structural repair. Like we had mentioned before, the key is just to make sure you're using the appropriate product for the appropriate repair. That is always critical within the repair.
And the other thing too, Patrick, is always, to make sure that you're following the right procedures and steps with using those particular products, right?
Good point.
You want to make sure that with adhesives that there are certain steps that you follow to put it in the dispenser, use it correctly before you start applying it to the vehicle for your repairs. And Fusor, like other product suppliers, we have a pretty extensive resources for our standard operating procedures that will walk you through specific uses of products, or for example, a tab repair or a bumper repair or composite structural repair. And those are really step-by-step guides on how to use the products and how to do those repairs correctly.
Yep, critical component of the repair process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're using any type of material like that, especially if it's something newer and you're not sure how to use it, you should absolutely be reading those how to use the technical data sheets, figuring out everything about how that product behaves in a certain repair. And I see on your website here, you have a lot of details for the different Fusor adhesives. You've got work time, sand time, paint time. Some of these even have videos you can download for viewing purposes. So that's awesome. You've also got a chat feature here, so people can talk to you on your website. So tell me more about that. It seems like a lot of work's gone into the website and just providing all of the information there to the body shop.
Yeah, so we certainly strive to be a one-stop resource, if you will, for our customers. And our teams that put together the websites have done a great job of providing all the standard operating procedures. And you click right into that, or you can go to our YouTube channel and see all the videos that are the same standard operating procedures. And then one key thing that we focus on here at Parker Lord with the Fusor products is being able to provide real-time customer support. So you mentioned our chat feature. So during the day when we're at work, Eastern time, we're right there available. When you go to Fusor.com, you can click on our friendly faces and ask any kind of questions that you need to know, and we'll direct you. We're also available by phone, email, contact us via the web, lots of ways to reach us and then ask questions about how to use a product, what products to use, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Yeah. So I even see that for Canadians here, you've got metric and imperial, so we don't have to do any Googling to convert the Fahrenheit. We appreciate that. Awesome. Yeah. So many details here. So just a couple other questions on Fusor products. I know some people might be wondering, I see on your site here, you can use partially opened, or you don't have to use everything in one go. You can close it, make sure it's used. What's the pot life of Fusor products? What's the best way to store your Fusor products? I'm sure things vary depending on the different application and which product you're using, but tell me about it.
Sure. For storage, it's a pretty critical component of how you use adhesives in your shops. You want to make sure that you store them, first of all, where it's not too hot. So if your shop is exposed to weather extremes, just make sure you don't store your Fusor on the top shelf, and that it's in sort of room temperature, 25 C, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, that kind of thing. And then you want to always check before you pull a product out that it's within shelf life. So that means that you need to be rotating your stock on the shelf. Always use the oldest products first to make sure that they stay within shelf life. And of course, jobbers will help with that process too. And then once you use a product, you ask the question, can I use it over and over again if I don't empty out the cartridge? And the answer is yes. For almost all of our products, we do recommend that you just leave the mixed tip on there, leave it stored upright with the mixed tip pointing to the ceiling. And then basically the material in the mixed tip cures up, preserves the balance of product in the cartridge. And the next time you go to use it, you just take the old mixed tip off, put a new one on, kind of purge your cartridge, and then start all over with continue using that cartridge.
To Carolee's point, it's very important to have first in, first out on the inventory. We do see some folks out there trying to use some expired material, and we want to make sure they're using the most freshest product possible. Great point on the mixers, keeping those intact, keeping the elements out. We do know that not every facility's 20 degrees or 70 degrees. Some of them are extremely hot or extremely cold, depending on the seasons. But we just have to be mindful that the adhesives react differently when you're going to use them when they're colder or they're hotter. So, everything is based off of a 70 degree. So we just want to be mindful to keep it in that range as possible. I mean, we do understand there's fluctuations in temperature during storage, but when you're ready to gun the material out or dispense the material out, it is pretty critical to have it at a decent working temperature.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, that's an excellent point to make there, Patrick and Carolee, about the weather and just different. We have pretty climate extremes here in Canada. We can get negative 25 degrees Celsius up to positive 36 here last week. So it definitely is a factor to consider. Your jobbers, like you mentioned, Carolee, will always help you with providing that kind of information and helping you make sure that your products are stored properly and able to be used the best they can be. Perfect. So what are some of the common, frequently asked questions that you get from first-time Fusor users, people that are using the adhesive for the first time, or perhaps people at trade shows that get a glimpse at it? How do you help people address challenges, and what are their questions about the product?
So I'll dive in real quick on just a couple of them. So one of the first ones I always get is, how long does the material last? And then typically they'll give me the question is, how long does it take for a one component product to cure versus a two component product to cure? And the short answer to that is first and foremost, we want to make sure that you're following the directions that are on the cartridges. We have products that range anywhere from 15 months to 24 months, and then we have different work times. They need to understand that the temperature where they're doing the application has a significant impact on the work time of the material. So let's just say the material says, say it's a quick, like a 133 product, which is I think a 1 minute product. So at 70 degrees, that product's going to cure in approximately 1 minute. Let's say it's 90 degrees. You may have about 30 seconds before that product turns rock hard. So you've reduced your work time by half with those hotter temperatures. And, and in reverse, that kind of happens as well with some of the colder temperatures as well. It kind of slows it down, with some of those products. So, environment is plays a significant role with adhesives.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned there before too, there's many different factors that come into the environment that could affect the way that the adhesives perform, and just understanding and knowing your stuff is very key there. And as we mentioned before too, you have lots of support available on your website. What about training? Like if people are having problems with the Fusor products, what kind of training or support do you guys offer to users?
So we do offer quite a bit of training. We have representatives all over North America, including Canada, that are there to help and support products. One thing I will mention is, I'm going to kind of jump back just a little bit back to one of your questions. One of the other questions that I get is asking about adhesives, but not specifically to an OEM repair, maybe more of a custom. We get a lot of custom manufacturers or people doing custom work on vehicles, and they're not going to be able to pull up a repair procedure on a 1924 whatever vehicle. And what we always recommend is test. Mm-hmm. Because we cannot come out and say that this product is going to work perfectly for your application because we haven't tested this product on a 1920 whatever. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's one of the things that we definitely need to make sure that everybody understands is if it's outside the realm of an OEM repair, the only real way of knowing if it's the exact product is for testing. We can give them a great set of directions on what we recommend, but the ultimate decision really needs to come from them. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the testing is pretty simple, right? It's get the adhesive, get it loaded in the gun correctly, dispense some beads on some scrap material. If you've got scrap pieces of the substrate that you're using, go ahead and bond them up to make sure it's working for you. Do your substrate prep like sanding and cleaning, whatever you think you're going to do on the final assembly. And then that really gets you ready for doing the application on the actual vehicle because you know how the adhesive feels and how it works, and you're confident that it's going to do the job. Those tests, like Patrick mentioned, that'll save you a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you're mentioning builders, restorers, people that are taking like you're saying, a 1924 like Model T or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the OEM procedure is not going to be easily accessible for something like that. So testing is key for sure, as you're saying. So, sorry, we'll bring it back to that question now because about training. So do you offer like one-on-one training? Is it a hybrid model? Like, could someone call you up one-on-one with one of your reps and speak to you? Tell me a little bit about that.
So we do offer some one-on-one training locally with our representative, like I mentioned, in North America. We do have some opportunities for some iCard training, some virtual training, and in-person training. It really just depends on what that individual is looking for. If they're looking for just a quick recap or a refresher of a specific product, I mean, we can do that virtually at their own time. Or if they're looking for something a little more in depth, maybe an overall product offering or overall product review, that's something that we can once again do in person or we can do virtually. It really leaves it up to the shop at this point. With the pandemic, we've kind of learned a lot about doing some virtual training and how to be more agile and responsive to the industry. So.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, great. It's many different streams for people to get the help they need then. And we've already touched a little bit on this, but I'll decide in our final recording whether we've had enough information or if it's repeating ourselves here. But how do Fusor products comply with OEM procedures?
Typically, there'll be an official bulletin from the OEM, and it'll be a bulletin number XYZ1234. And the OEM will have a highly detailed description of how to make the repair. It'll list what products to use when they make those repairs and kind of walk you through the process. The bulletins will often have how to reach and call and find out how to get a Fusor product, and it'll be calling into our toll-free number. And then often we might have to, we will have to refer you out to a master distributor or a jobber to actually get the product in your area. But they're pretty detailed. We're not able to give out the OEM bulletins. We have to refer customers to that information because it's proprietary to the OEM. But we'll usually have information on our website or in our resources that tells you what bulletin number, what the repair is, and what the Fusor products are approved for that repair.
And what about listeners? If they're eager to learn more about Fusor products, we mentioned the website here, lord.com, but you also mentioned there's a toll-free number. We can include that in the description to kind of direct people to more information. But where can they get more information about Fusor products if they're looking for it on their own?
So we have lots of resources. Fusor.com is our website. We have a YouTube channel for Fusor products and has videos and that sort of thing in it. We have a toll-free number, 877-275-5673, and then navigate through the options to get information about our Fusor products. We have chat on our website, so you can always click on one of our reps that's available online and fire away with the Fusor question. We're glad to help with that. We get emails from customers to parkerlordsupport@parker.com. And then we have a contact us form on the web that customers can fill out with questions. Other resources, don't forget your jobbers, right? Yeah. And manufacturers reps that are out there. They have a great network where they train and they learn about products. And they're able to help and navigate through issues that shops might be having or questions that they have. They're terrific resources, and they're hands-on right in the local area.
Yeah, and if there's any products that they want to try, they would have access to those products that they could get to the end user to try as well. So to Carolee's point, they'd be a great asset and resource.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah, the big web of connections there. People can either do it, and there's lots of different ways to learn about Fusor. So those are all the questions that I had for you two today. Thank you so much for teaching us a little bit about Fusor and about what the brand stands for and its compliance with OEM procedures and training. We really thank you for your time, Carolee and Patrick, and we're so glad that you were able to make it today.
Thank you for your time, Allison.
Absolutely.
It was great.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Industry Insider listeners, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. We put out new episodes every other week. And we're available anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Subscribe and be sure to be the first to find out about new episodes.